But I'm even thinking about where I was in my head.
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah. I'm just so proud of you. Like, and it might just be me. I can't do this for all wives. But the role of the helpmate, sometimes God gives vision past where the person is at. So for a long time, I could see where you are today before you could see it. And I could see the wrestle, and I'm like, he just has to stop. You know, he has to surrender. But there's wisdom in when you say what and how. And so most of my conversation was more through prayer. It's really cool to see when God gives you vision of someone becoming, like who they are becoming to be. It's cool to see them step into it. It feels like a stage, and then there's a spotlight, and then you see the person just on the outside of the circle for such a long time. But I know you're supposed to be right in the middle of it. And I'm visualizing it, I'm praying over it. Lord, let him step into it. Lord, let him step into it. And then when you open your eyes and you're actually there, and it's not hypothetical, it's not one day, but you're in the middle of it, I'm like, this is cool.
Yo, what's good? Welcome to the Mowry podcast. I'm Tavior Mowry.
I'm Zandy Mowry.
And you already know, this is the Mowry podcast. Oh yeah. So much so you even got it. Yeah. I need that.
I'll let it go one of these days. But does anybody else hear that it's redundant?
It's for sure redundant, but it just makes it, you know what I'm saying? What is it? I forget the saying, but it's like 1 for certain, 2 for show or something like that. 3 times.
Are you making up the saying?
I might. How y'all doing? We missed last week. We were chilling. It was Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. And since you know Thanksgiving is over,
Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad.
You know what I'm saying? So we in the spirit year.
We also all got colds. Yeah. I'm like, you can probably hear it in my voice, but
yeah, we all got tagged. Tri being numero uno, and it kind of
trickled.
Yeah, and he's
straight.
Yeah,
very resilient, but
desires to go outside. Very bad.
As a mom, it's just hard because it's like you can't. You need to get better first, and it was snowing here.
Facts on Monday.
Big flakes. We woke up and the yard was white.
Yeah.
Not don't think where it actually.
It wasn't
snows. It wasn't. Yeah, covered, but it was still significant.
It was it snowed. Which was kind of crazy.
But in Nashville, weather goes all over the place. So
that's a fact.
Yesterday it was in the 50s.
Yeah. So. Today's low 40s.
Is it
good?
I mean, it's December, so I don't know why I'm still expecting the 60s.
That's a fact. But it is on that kind of I feel like winter's playing with this, ha ha, I'm here. And then it pulls up and it's 20. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You just so what we doing? Is this gonna be a Cali winter, or is it gonna be -2? What's up?
There's got to be a happy medium.
I don't know. I feel the worst is January, February.
What is a Cali winter?
Cali
40s?
winter is nah.
Southern California.
Yeah, probably low 60s, high 50s. That's yo, being in LA is so funny because it'll be low 60s, high 50s, and cats got scarves on,
sure.
Boots bundled up, But it's wild because I get it though.
And
you know
what
I'm
about
saying?
Northern California? Does it get cold up there?
It does get cold. Northern California, it'll be high 30s.
For the high of the day?
Or not for the high, but it'll get down.
It'll
get down to maybe 33, 32, and you'd be yo, it's freezing.
Yeah, that is cold.
No, it's for sure cold.
But during the day, it's not going to be in the 30s.
Nah. Okay. When the sun's up, it's going to be high 40s, 50s. You're going to be floating around the 50s. Unless you keep going more north or even more inland, to Tahoe.
Right.
That's when and then it's cold.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think it's just one of those things where it's just yo, it's 75, 80 degrees all the time. So a 30-degree difference hits, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas here it could be 94 in the summer and literally 12 in the winter.
That's what I said. If we ever move to California, I'm going to miss seasons.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'd be man, I wish it was cold. Because you could go somewhere for a week and get your snow fix. I'm good with that. We can make that happen.
You're not even trying to move to California.
I think about it sometimes.
And every time you land on it, I don't think so.
I would want to live in Ventura County.
Yeah.
probably move to Oxnard. I haven't been there in
I
like
know,
a
but
couple
I'm
years,
saying you don't want to. You have this like idea of living in California, and then anytime I'm like, is that something you really want to consider? I don't think so.
But Ventura County is like way different. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like where Dahlia and Isaiah, even a little bit more north or south of there. But also, it's at the expense of the quality of life. Like,
that's true.
We would not be able to do what we're doing currently in California. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm completely fine with that.
That's what I'm saying. Then we
See,
land.
y'all witnessed it in real time. Well, it's like you're always entertaining. Like, cool. I'd be closer to my family. I'd be able to experience the beach whenever I want. Fire food.
Yep.
There's fire food here, but like
different in a different way.
Yeah. And then, just access to particular things, fresh produce like Ventura's, avocado, strawberries, all that kind of stuff. But then you start.
I don't really like strawberries.
I like those strawberries though. Like I think maybe I got spoiled because it's like you're eating like fresh. Like these joints were just in the soil like earlier today. You know what I'm saying? But going back to like the central topic, I think that is really what it boils down to. Because it's like, yeah, you could have all these things, but like, how often do you have the opportunity to enjoy those things?
That's what just you have to like work in order to live in the place.
Just I was talking about that the other day. You got homies in Oceanside where it's like, yeah, bro, the beach is like right up the street, and it's like, well, how often do you go to the beach? Like, I don't.
Yeah.
Why? Because I
gotta work.
you know what I'm saying? So it's like, well, what am I doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Quality of life is so imperative, at least in our perspective. Like it's like I don't want to be somewhere to be somewhere.
Yeah.
If I'm somewhere, I want it to be because I'm enjoying what that place has to offer.
Absolutely.
And I feel like in Nashville, obviously I'm biased. I was born out here, but the people, the community, and then the quality of life and what we're able to do, like financially out here.
Even that's changing too.
Yeah.
Like I think this will be my 6th year in January. Yo, this is not the same place I pulled up on.
It's not, but we're also not in the same place either.
No, for sure. But I'm saying like the home that was like 120K is not like them days is gone.
Yeah. I think they're still positive.
Yeah. No, for sure. But I think with the influx of people like me that moved here, it's like it shifts the culture of the city.
Yeah, definitely not the Nashville I grew up in. But I like it in a lot of ways. I'm like, it comes with a cost, traffic, and but the whole country is experiencing inflation. It's not like it's isolated to Nashville.
You hear about what they're doing at Chipotle? The CEO just announced he's doing like a 2% increase on all prices to not to accommodate, but to I'm forgetting the word, but to like even out inflation.
Dang.
It's pretty like getting a burrito bowl from Chipotle and them cats being like, that's $16.22, sir. Like,
that's what it is right now?
No, but I'm just saying like it will be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, well,
y'all gotta learn how to cook.
Shoot. For real.
Speaking of, we had a fire dinner last night. My brother came over and he made jerk chicken, and then Tavior made macaroni and cheese. I made broccolini. We had rolls.
It was fire. I need that.
And we watched a Christmas movie because it's that most wonderful time of the year. We watched This Christmas. Tavior and Darius both fell asleep, but whatever. I was up watching it.
I've earned that position because I'm like a dad officially. So
fall asleep.
Yeah, it's just like dad falls asleep watching TV.
Yeah.
That's like the MO.
Yeah.
You do too, though.
Always. But I like it.
You use it as like a sound machine.
Yeah.
I don't like that because then I wake up to something crazy on TV.
That's
or
why
like
you gotta
a
stick
loud
with
scene or something like that.
Stick with Disney Plus. That'll never happen.
They be having crazy stuff on Disney Plus too.
It don't happen to me though when I'm in my Santa Claus bag. It's just on Santa Claus 3. So that's what I'm saying.
That's still terrifying.
You're choosing Mandalorian. That's how you get God.
Yeah.
I'm on Santa Claus 3.
What is happening right now?
Anyway, today we were just talking about the year gratitude. We talked about gratitude last episode, and then just kind of looking forward into 2025. Obviously, we have another baby coming, and we're probably rounding out episodes with me for a little bit.
Yeah. Dang, I gotta figure out what to do. We're gonna
We
keep
have
this.
a plan.
We do. I gotta build suspensions, Zandy.
Suspense is the word you're looking for.
No, suspense. Yeah. I have to build suspense, Zandy. Suspension, that's like on a car.
Sorry, you got to figure out what to do. Let's go back to it.
I do need to build suspension,
Dun,
though,
dun,
because it's like,
dun.
obviously, Zandy won't be able to be on the show.
I'm not going to be gone long, guys. Don't worry.
Exactly. So I just need to figure out what I'll be doing in between then.
I think there'll just be a baby in the frame.
Baby in the frame. But also, it's like, the week of, I don't imagine you being like down.
Post birth? No, I don't. I've been trying to figure out how long I want to do maternity leave. Maternity leave isn't really my thing.
You should make it your thing.
I'm like, I get real stir crazy real fast. At least I did with Triumph.
Facts. You I
was
felt
like-
like you kind of like hovered in the sense of like, so what you doing?
I know. I was like, well, there's nothing to do. The baby's
like-
asleep again.
Yes.
He's fed and clean and he's not doing anything, so I could be doing something with my time.
Yes. Yeah. Then we have try.
Yep. Anyway, so something we were gonna do today is just like talk through the year, what we liked, what we didn't like, and I think it's
Reflection.
reflection. And I think it's important that y'all do this in the next few weeks too, as we come to the end of the year. Because at church today, I wasn't able to make it because I stayed home with Triumph. But Tavior was talking about, our pastor was talking about preparation and how you have like big dreams, big goals, and no preparation for it. And I think a lot of times what happens is, New Year's resolutions come and you have maybe a vision board or whatever you have.
Yeah.
And we talk a lot about the goal and not at all about the prep work
Facts.
to get there.
That's a fact.
And one of the most beneficial ways to change your habits, change your perspective, change your life is to reflect, on what did and didn't work before. So you don't fall into the habit of insanity, which is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. And so, So we were just going to do it live on camera.
Dang.
Dun, dun, dun,
We ain't talk about
dun, dun, dun.
What song is that?
It actually is.
That was like a
on
mix.
game show. Ba-da-ba, ba-da. I think it's.
That's The Price is Right? Is that what you're trying to
I
do?
think so.
Yeah.
But that kind of puts me in the same.
It's your interpolation of it.
It's the same thing of, like an old. I was kind of trying to go like old live. Have you ever seen Hairspray?
Mm-mm. You know how I feel about musicals.
We don't have enough time in this episode to talk about that, but
That that one post where somebody was like whoever created musicals was like, let's make a movie and ruin it every 15 minutes. That joint's nail on the head for me.
No.
With musicals. Anyway.
It's kind of hard for me to think back. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, but it goes into something else though.
Yeah. It's kind of hard for me to think back to the beginning of the year because I'm like, where were we? On a cruise?
Yeah. But I don't know if it has to necessarily be like a chronological reflection. Maybe
I'm
more
just saying
so,
some of my memories. I'm even like, oh, that was this year, and I was like, that's 2018.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
I'm saying more so like towing onto or piggybacking on the preparation versus expectation, inputs and outputs kind of thing of like, well, what in my life this year was I trying to do that I didn't do? And why didn't I do those things? Or like even the notion of coming to the end of this year, like I feel like something that could be really beneficial is if you want to do something next year that you didn't do this year, I think it would be interesting to ask yourself, why are you waiting until next year to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could literally do that today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or better yet, like today, if not tomorrow, should I say.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, like, I don't have to be bound to a calendar to
Right.
do the thing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I know that kind of like pulls the conversation in a different direction. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Why don't you answer the question? Anything you didn't do this year that you wanted to do? And for the sake of balance, anything that you did do, you know, I mean, that you wanted to do that you did accomplish. Because I think that's worth also looking at.
Yeah. I think I just focused on being a doer. We started a podcast. I learned how to work a camera. I learned how to light. I learned how to color. I learned how to edit, like, for real.
Yeah.
Um,
This year was a big shift for you.
Crazy shift.
Yeah.
Even music, it's like that's cool, and I'm going to continue to do that. But this shift was one of those things where it's like, I can either like sit on my hands and be like, I guess like I want to learn how to do that, or like I've always wanted to do this. And instead, I was just like, okay, well, the only way I can learn to do something is to actually do it.
Right.
So like, let me go do that thing.
Right.
And I believe that's that preparation and expectation thing that I'm still walking through. I think the most recent example of that is my, I guess, reinvigorated interest in memorizing scripture.
Yeah.
I never have really taken the effort or time to memorize scripture. Yeah. And I was like, that's something that I want to do. Okay, cool. There's a desire. And then I was like, maybe I should do that like next year. And then I was like, wait, I'm going to do that today. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So like, let me take the proper steps in the system to do these things. And it's changed. Like, I've only been doing it for a week. Yeah. It's that recent. You know what I'm saying? But it's been changing my life.
Yeah.
Like, drastically. For real. Where it's like his word and me being saturated in his word and the renewing of my mind in the sense of like the old being done with and the new being established, his words becoming my words, his thoughts becoming my thoughts, his ways becoming my ways, his desires becoming my desires. It feels like I'm tuning a guitar string.
Yeah.
But again, it could be one of those things where it's like, well, I'm gonna tap in with you like at the top of the year.
Yeah.
And it's like the classic example. I run at the gym as much as I can. I wasn't in there this week because I was sick, but I be in there pretty consistently when I'm consistent. It's just sad. Anyway, the classic January rush of all the people that are like, I'm gonna get my act together and be in the gym. And it's interesting, like, for anybody that goes to the gym, they know this.
We know that.
There's like a group or community of people that you see at the gym because you usually go at like a similar time. So I'm in there anywhere like 5 to 6:30. That's like when I walk in there. And there's always like a handful of people that I see. And like, we don't have a deep relationship, but enough to be like, hey, what's up, man? Like, how you doing? And it never fails. Whenever the first of the year rolls around, you still see the OG crew that's always been doing their thing because they're there consistently. But then you see all these new faces, and they like all up on your machine, like do all up in the way. And if you wait 3 weeks, I'd say over 50% of those people would be gone. You wait 2 months, you'll probably get 5% of what showed up. And then you have like maybe one new member of that group that's gonna be there with you. But it's also that like recognizing with the mutual group that's already been there. As you look around, you're looking at these people like, it's all right, we just gotta tough it through because they're not gonna be here. And I think a lot of that paints the picture of everyone has these grand expectations.
Yeah.
Desires, dreams, goals that they want to achieve, but not a lot of people are willing to do the necessary things that they need to do in order to achieve those goals.
Yeah.
And I think it just goes to show, like, well, do you really want those things?
Yeah.
Because if you really did want those things, then the preparation that's necessary to do those things, you'd be like, I could foot that bill.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's maybe a thing to investigate and be like honest
With
about.
yourself about, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you want to be a bodybuilder, but you don't want to eat right or like lift every
Mhm.
day. Like, I don't know if you really want to be a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
I think you want to be a bodybuilder.
Yeah. I fall into, like, I think that's true, but I also think people don't know the cost.
Facts.
Therefore, they don't count the cost.
That's a fact.
And so it's not that the actual desire isn't there to be, but it's going, I guess what I've learned as a guitar teacher is a lot of people want to learn for one lesson. I've taught the 25 people who did one lesson. And there's people who want to learn when your fingers start to hurt because you don't have calluses. And then when you're busy at work, and you're trying to remember how to play a specific chord and you don't remember the chords and I'm not telling you how, you know. But sometimes they go, I didn't know it was going to be like this. And I'm like, I know. But what I've learned is my role as the teacher and encourager drastically changes their response to the lesson. And I feel like when we have God in his proper place, like even our ambitions aren't solely for us to carry.
Right.
Because his role as the teacher and guide drastically changes what we feel like we can and can't do. But when we try to do things independent of him and go, I gotta make this happen, I want to do you start to feel the weight and the struggle of it. And not saying that my students are still saying their fingers hurt.
Right.
They're still saying, this is harder than I thought it would be. But my perspective brings them encouragement where it's, because I've had some students who like try to learn on YouTube by themselves first and they're like, I just couldn't get it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the same way in life. Sometimes we want things and we need the encourager.
Absolutely.
In order to attain it, you know?
For sure.
I feel like in my year, the things that I didn't do was, quite a few things just were personal. I don't have a grand ambition to do like solo Zandy work. So like, I'm in a band with my family and I have all the ambition in the world. Anything that needs to get done in that world, I can do. I have ambition to have a healthy marriage. So like, we need to go to counseling. I'll let me set up counseling. Let's do it. I want to be a good mom, so let's do it. But like, solo projects, I wanted to work on a kids project this year, and I didn't do that.
And also life happens, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I wanted to get pregnant this year, and I did do that, and that has altered the other things. But if we're just looking solely at what you didn't accomplish, that mine would be like the kids project and the lessons. Just because I don't see that happening in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Like the 3 weeks we have, you know. It could happen in the time, but not the time we have. And how do I feel about that? I don't know. Like I don't feel a lot of shame.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like, what didn't work, you know? I was kind of like, I was doing so many other things and it just didn't happen. But I do know that 5 years, like life isn't going to slow down. So it's like about more so what do you prioritize? And I don't know. It's so interesting because if you guys knew me like in real life, I'm not a shy person. I'm not like shying. Like if somebody, like this sounds crazy maybe, but if I'm not the person who's like, please don't make me the center of attention. I do not know what to do with attention. You know what I mean? Like I'm so shy. Yeah, I'm just like, I'm not going to go bust into a room and like try to make the attention follow me. But if it does, I'm not going to be like, I hate this. I'll just, do whatever people are requiring. So with that personality, I don't know why solo stuff is so like nonchalant for me. It seems like I would be like, yeah, let me. But also, I don't have a ton of experience doing anything by myself. I was literally born a twin. So like just growing up with a twin sister and a brother who was 13 months older than us. So we like went through very similar seasons together at the same time. So kindergarten, you had somebody. High school, you had somebody, you know. College age, I didn't go to college, but had somebody. And then my siblings and I started a band together, so we worked together, and then we got signed together, and then we got dropped together. You know, like it was never like I did something. Though I had ambition for the group, I didn't necessarily have like an ambition for just myself. So I just think that muscle is a bit weaker than the rest of it. So when Tav is talking about you really should do your own lessons or you really should do your own music, I conceptually understand that because I've done it in a way with a group, but I don't necessarily like in the realm of reality take a lot of initiative when it comes to like getting my own thing started. And I have a lot of dreams, you know, about like what I could be and what I want to be to the guitar community. And speaking of, I have a thing this week. I think Taylor Guitars asked me to come out for something.
Oh, for real? That's what's up. Shout out.
They have like a new guitar or something.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it acoustic?
I think so. I didn't look at the information that detailed, but I need to talk to you about that. But
Where's it at? Downtown?
Capital.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, so I have aspirations on like what I want, how I want to influence the guitar community, how I want to influence Black women as guitar players, and I think my prep work is just not great, like, because it always that's the part. It's essentially what we're talking about, counting the cost. Like that's the part that no one sees is the part that is the hardest to do. Most, if not every time. No matter what you want to do, and I need to get better at the part that no one sees, because I'm a performer at heart. Like that's even something that I had to work on in marriage and in friendships, is like not to perform and like just be yourself. You don't have to put on or be what you think somebody wants you to be. It's not as cut and dry as people pleasing, because I don't have all the way that, but it's still in the same genre or family where it's like not 100% authentic. Like you're doing something to get a specific reaction. It's more manipulative than it is genuine. But then also like my work is performing. So like being on stage is something that I'm good at, and like getting the attention of a crowd through showmanship is like something that I have been trained to do since I was little, because I've been performing on stages since I was like 7. So maybe it's not that it's not authentic, but I don't have a lot of history not performing. And the things that I want to do, a kids project and the lessons, don't require a lot of performance. So there's some like personality stuff, and then obviously like tracking the record, but yeah, the prep work for that has been my fall off this year.
It's all good. It's grace for it. I get that. I feel like I've accomplished a lot this year, but I also have things that I have not done that I need to do.
Yeah.
But I think in the work that I have done, I've really adopted that. Like, if I just do this much today, that's cool.
Yeah.
Because this much is better than nothing.
Yeah.
And I do find myself starting to fall in love with the process and kind of just understanding that like the process is significantly longer than the moment is when you achieve that specific result.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to wait 10 years
Right.
for 2 minutes. And then after the 2 minutes to be like, that 2 minutes really wasn't like
Yeah.
what I thought it was.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, that's cool because I've been loving these 10 years.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's just like, oh, those 2 minutes were great.
Yeah.
What's next?
And that is something that I'm proud of us for this year is doing, is like loving where we're at.
Yeah.
I think we both have ambitions to be in a different place. My mom. Hey, Mom, I'm going to hit you back. Okay, bye. Career-wise, mostly, I think that's probably our main thing, like career, because we have what we want.
You talking about us or the band?
Both of us.
Okay.
Looking at our careers.
Okay.
Because we have each other in marriage, and we do really well with like keeping us healthy in our relationship with the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Home,
Mm-hmm.
kids, finances, but that kind of is tied to the career thing. And then like community and joy and like church.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you look at our lives, it's not like that tree is withered, that plant is dead. Like nothing we have is working.
Mm-hmm.
Our thing that we often can look at and be like, I want this to be different, is the career.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for the first couple of years of our marriage, we both were like nose down, like do the work and hope that when I look up, things are drastically different.
Right.
And now I feel like we're in a season where we're like stopping to smell the roses along the way and realizing like this is the life that we want. And when our career gets to the place that we imagine it to be, it won't be because we've sacrificed joy along the way.
That's a part. Or at the expense of those other components.
Right. But it'll be because we were building beauty beyond just one part of the garden.
Right.
And when we get to the place where we want to see things, and I'm kind of going on a little bit of a different path, but we also have learned the beauty of the pivot and how it doesn't mean I'm dropping this thing and I'm turning away from it. It means expanding territory. So I'm, as well as doing this thing, I'm also doing this thing. And I have to learn in what season am I supposed to be more attentive to one plant over the other, you know?
I feel like from one perspective, it could be considered a pivot, but from another perspective, it could also be seen as just footsteps being ordered.
Yeah.
And in that surrendering.
And it feels like a pivot when we have a plan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When in reality, it's like, nah, this is the path.
This has always been, you were always supposed to turn right here. And I'm like, I thought I was headed straight, you know?
And it's like, nah, like there's things that you learn in this particular route that will serve you where you're going.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that the direction, like all these things head the same direction. You know what I'm saying? Because they all lead to me and the purpose that I have for you.
Right.
Now, the part where you can get chewed up at is when you're like, no, like this is the way that I thought it was going to be. And that's the no-go zone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And that has been me.
And that's been me too.
Multiple
For sure been me.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think that's like the dangerous thing about goals.
Yeah.
And dreams.
Yeah.
Not saying that like they're inherently bad, but I'm saying when you start to, not you, but like the universal you, or let me speak for myself. When I start to raise up goals, dreams, aspirations above God, we already know this has become an idol, which like
he don't play with
10 times out of 10, I'm tripping. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which again, like I think having goals, dreams, aspirations are great so long as they're in alignment with where they need to be.
Yeah, they're submitted in their proper place.
Right. Or and even like them postured and positioned in a way of being like, Lord, like, is this in alignment with you?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to do anything that's out of alignment with you because that'll be in vain.
Right.
You know what I mean? In my opinion. And of course, all things work together.
Yeah.
But like, why go 40 years when I could go 11 days?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I think, and in this year, this is truly the first time we've even like a little bit talked about our year.
Yeah.
But I have seen how your submission to that process has shifted the family's posture as well, because that's just the way God designed it, in that order. And there's been more freedom to have a dream because the dream doesn't have you.
That's just like money.
Yeah. But even like, I think something that we talked about, or maybe we have or have not talked about, but my my job being away from the family was like a point of contention for Tavior and I for a long time. Have we talked about that on this? And again, it wasn't the fact that I had a job. It wasn't the fact that he didn't want me to work. It wasn't the fact that he didn't want me to have a dream. It was the fact that our connection, I sometimes forfeited our connection for the sake of the job. And that meant when I was on the road, I'm out. You know what I mean? And I wasn't like necessarily nurturing us, and I was out of order. But then this past year, there was a point where I was like, I'm pregnant, so I'm tired, and I don't know if I want to do the band anymore. Like, what is it? Maybe what it would look like if I just came home. And he was like, no. And I'm a little bit shook because I'm thinking this is music to his ears, not like that he didn't want me to do what I love, but that maybe he would have more time and the time split wouldn't be there. And he's like, there's a way to do both. And I think that response came out of not letting the dream have you, because it's not like, what do I want my life to look like and how does this affect me, but more so like, what is God doing? And that doesn't feel right to me. You pivoting there doesn't feel like the ordered steps. And it's just important, and I'm thankful for you. Thank you.
I'm thankful for you too, babe.
It's important to be with somebody who is like more tethered to the steps being ordered than comfort. Because then we have been in years where we were both wanting to die on the hill of comfort, die on the hill of my perspective, die on the hill of what I wanted. And in this past year, I've seen us just submit to God in ways that we hadn't before, and me submit to him in ways that I hadn't before. And the fruit of that has made, of course it makes sense because it's God's way, but it's been like, oh, this is what you're talking about. The peace that passes all understanding comes in order. It's not just, I'm making my own decision, but God give me peace because you said, you know what I mean? But this doesn't make sense to my understanding, but I'll do it your way. And then there's this peace that comes. Yeah. Or we're still going after this. You haven't told us to stop, so this doesn't make sense to me. Like, we're getting older and we have kids now. And something that Tavior and I never want to be is like, just out here doing it because we want to be doing it, but everything in our lives is struggling. And it's just like, well, we have a dream and we're going to make it big. And it's just never, neither of us ever wanted fame. Like, I just trying to be famous. So in a lot of ways, we're like, we could just like get jobs and, do our life. And God's like, no, make a podcast. And it's just like, okay, but it didn't make sense. The peace wasn't catered to my understanding. But it comes after I submit to God, So yeah, I'm thankful. This year feels huge to me spiritually for us. Also just preparing for another child, like, again, kind of what Pastor Law was talking about is I can't want a baby and expect not to be pregnant. And I can't, and like expect for the developmental process. It takes almost a year. Like, if you really look at, they say 9 months is closer to 10, and there's 12 months in a year. So we're nearly at a year of preparation. And I'm going to doctor's visits and they're saying, this is the milestone you're at. And if I expected to be like, okay, so when I leave this doctor's visit, I'm going to have a baby, I would be disappointed for almost a year. But I feel like the Lord has done what he's doing physically with the baby, spiritually for us, which is like check-ins, like this is where you're at, this is where the development point you're at. You might feel sick, but that's fine. That doesn't mean you are sick. It means that you're at a specific point of development. This is where you're at. You might feel a little bit more tired in this phase because you're carrying a little bit more weight. That's fine. That's the way it's designed. And so it's not just like, oh, we don't even feel it, We do feel it. Some days we get in bed and we're just like, I can't believe we have to get up. Triumph is going to be up in 5 hours.
That's the bamboozle right there.
We'll be like up doing like a date night.
It's like, it's 12.
Yeah, it's 12. And like Try gets up at, he'll sleep to almost 8 though. So he does pretty well.
But for some reason, it still doesn't feel like I got enough.
Yeah.
Well, then again, I'm also waking up at like, if I do wake up to work out, those start to stack too.
And it depends on if we get in the bed and go to sleep or if we get in the bed and don't go to sleep.
That's right.
Because then it's like, that's more time.
Just awake.
Yeah, just awake. Just looking at each other. But I'm thankful overall. Like, I don't have a year where I'm looking back and going like, dang, I didn't. I may not have done the things on my list that I thought I needed to do, but as a person, I feel like a different person than I was. And I think the thing that I care probably the most about outside of my relationship with the Lord is my relationship with you. And I feel we've grown significantly this year, and
absolutely,
we're way more connected, and I think this is the closest to the oneness that we've ever been.
I agree.
Was Ranger Station this year or was that last year? Wow, yeah, we've been through some phases.
It's been a time.
Yeah.
For sure. But I've that is crazy. Ranger Station was this year. Ranger Station was this candle fragrance house I was working at in Nashville. And I was there for like 6 months or something like that.
Yeah. But it was just a point of contention between the two of us too.
It was. But I'm even thinking about where I was in my head.
Right.
Like, crazy.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you look, somebody said it, even with the twist stuff. Like, I'm just so proud of you. Like, I feel like, and it might just be me, I can't say this for all wives, but the role of the helpmate, sometimes God gives vision past where the person is at. So for a long time, I could see where you are today before you could see it. And I could see the wrestle, and I'm like, he just has to stop. He has to surrender. But there's wisdom in when you say what and how. And so most of my conversation was more through prayer. Learned that by not doing it when we were dating. So that wasn't just, that wasn't just because I got it like that.
That's because you got some stripes.
Yeah, for sure. But it's really cool to see when God gives you vision of someone becoming, like who they are becoming to be. It's cool to see them step into it. It feels like a stage, and then there's a spotlight, and then you see the person just on the outside of the circle for such a long time. But I know you're supposed to be right in the middle of it. And I'm visualizing it. I'm praying over it. Lord, let him step into it. Lord, let him step into it. And then when you open your eyes and you're actually there, and it's not hypothetical, it's not one day, but you're in the middle of it, I'm like, this is cool. And it's been a really sweet and encouragement to me to watch the process so intimately, because I think one day, you'll be in interviews and maybe even a documentary or something where you'll be recounting the story. And I'll be in the background remembering watching it and not just hearing it for the first time. And that feels special to me because I think you're an important person, obviously to God, obviously to me, but I think to the world too. So
thank you, Z.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. That's dope. Oh,
cheers,
man.
Cheers and happy holidays.
About to make me tear up. Dang. Well,
think about your year.
Yeah.
And think about all that God has done. And think about the ways that you can partner with Him better, and the ways that but also I don't want like shame.
Yeah.
I'm so anti-shame.
Don't feel shame about how things are going, what you've been doing, or where you're at, and instead feel encouraged because you have today.
Yeah.
You're alive. You know what I'm saying? That's excitement.
Yeah.
And by God's grace, if you wake up tomorrow, hey, let's go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the clearest indicator of like God's not done. You still got breath in your lungs. You know what I'm saying? So, nah, we rebuke and cast out all shame. He doesn't come to shame us.
No. But encourage us. He's so good at it too. Well, see you next week.
Until next time, this is a Mowry podcast.
This is the Christmas season on the Mowry podcast, and we'll be more cozy, more festive every episode.
We should bring the Christmas tree down here.
I'm not bringing that Christmas tree down here.
You?
Yeah, I'm never going to. Maybe we can get like a wreath or something.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
We can do that. All right then, y'all. Peace.